quality stuff out there. No doubt about it. There's quality stuff out there. It's trying to find it within. It's trying to get access to it. How do you even know about it? How can you get? How can something that's good get your attention? You know what I'm saying? How can it? Advertisements or Facebook or commercials or whatever. How do you get your eyes on the good stuff? That's the
Mm-hmm.
problem, and it's still a growing problem, But the content is out there. It just gets overlooked by the massive volume of what's being put out.
So, oh man, and you know what? I'm very glad. I'm happy that you kind of highlighted it that way because the consensus of the hardcores, quote unquote, that really don't read comic books would view something such as a Jonathan Kent, for example,
Mm-hmm.
as well. This is an attempt to take comic books away from us, whoever the fuck us is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth being told, there's a ceiling to everything. There's a ceiling to the consumer base on every type of entertainment.
Right, right.
Comic books, video games, movies, television, actual printed books, whatever. You know what I mean? Battle rap,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. Like music, there's a ceiling. Now, the demographics of a consumer base may determine how high and how profitable the ceiling of that could be. But with that being said, if we kind of focus the scope on just comic books, like you were saying, I mean, there's a shark in the water called manga, called anime, that isn't going anywhere. That's going to continue to eat up that market share because people who are much younger than we are, meaning my brother's kids, my nieces, and my nephews, see
Yep.
more appeal in manga and anime, in part because it's easier to get into, it's
Mm-hmm.
less convoluted, the
Yep.
storytelling is more streamlined, and the art style is easier to follow. I
And
can't
what
be
happens
mad.
counts.
Mm-hmm.
What happens in
They,
those stories, they count. It,
yep,
you know what I
most
mean? They
important.
count. Yep.
Yep. There's a reason why Toriyama is still able to publish black and white Dragon Ball manga. There's a reason he's still able to do that. There's a reason why One Piece is still
Mm-hmm.
what it is now. Like, there's a
Mm-hmm.
reason why there's a genre of Korean manga called manhwa that is quietly becoming something that's very popular among teenagers and everything like that. All of that to say, you shouldn't be surprised by anything you see DC Comics, Marvel Comics. You shouldn't be surprised in any of these things that you're seeing there at the end of the day. Like, the job of anybody who's writing a comic book is to sell more copies.
Yep.
If you don't want to read it, don't read it. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the top of this year, we discussed briefly Superman Future State and how the portrayal of Jonathan Kent was diametrically opposed to what we seen in the new 52. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it's true.
Right.
And truth be told, if you were really paying attention, if anybody was really paying attention to DC Future State when it launched at the end of 2020, end of 2021, that reveal really shouldn't have been a surprise, if we're
If,
being all the way
yeah.
honest.
Yeah. If you come on, if you can't read between the lines and look at the design and just look at, it's
Right.
yeah.
It's not like this was something that came as a surprise. If you're mad about it, whatever. But if you really pay attention to the industry and where a lot of these things are going, like, there's no such thing as a surprise here. You know what I'm saying? The same reason why I'm sure at one point in time Superman was fighting Nazis and all of that. Like, DC Comics wasn't doing that because they really. Never mind, bro. I'm gonna chill. But continuing on. My bad, brother.
Yeah,
In 2020.
Cap as well. Come on, man. We know Cap as well. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
But
man,
we got to know who's
man,
writing it. Who's writing the material. And what they stand for, and come on, man. Keep
right?
politics out of my comics. Get out of here.
Fuck
Get
out of
out of
like,
here with that shit.
bro. That's been a present element in comic books since comic books have been fucking comic books. But digress.
Right, because Cap and Superman with the American flag behind him is totally not political. Gotcha.
Oh man, that's
Truth,
just
justice, and the American way. Yep. Keep politics out of my comic books.
what are we doing? What are we talking about right now, man? Like I'm not, and the thing is, like I'm not pointing this out to like take a stance or make anybody feel a type of way, but to
Yeah.
imply that comic books have never been political or have never attempted to try to branch out or get like to imply that gimmicks in comic books don't go hand in hand is like saying gimmicks and wrestling don't go hand in hand. Like
Yep.
if we don't want to be honest about this, I guess we don't have to be honest about it. But if we're not gonna do that, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It goes both ways, people. It goes both ways. So
It does. I'm sorry. Comics in 2021, man. Like, what are your thoughts on some of the books that got published, some of the storylines that kind of got highlighted in 2021? Because that prior conversation about politics and comics does kind of fall into that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to get your take on that. I'm interested to know what you have to say about what actually came out in print this year and what really stuck on the scoreboard this year.
On the scoreboard for this year, I believe Todd McFarlane came out with a big W with his King Spawn, man. I think it's the best-selling comic of the year, number one, King Spawn number one. So it's the longest running indie title of all time. Technically the longest running black superhero series of all time. So
kudos to Todd McFarlane.
For real, man. And then him expanding World of Spawn, She Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn, just coming out with the soul. Everyone's coming out. He's building his own universe of Spawn spin-offs and Spawn worlds. So I'm all for it, dude. To the moon, dude. He's
astronaut Spawn, symbiote Spawn.
Oh man, dude, yeah, I don't blame him. I really don't blame him because people like it and they enjoy it. I mean, I got issue 2 of King Spawn. I'm about to probably get number 3. I'm behind on Spawn, but this is one of the side series I can follow along and enjoy. So, Ronnie Barnes killing it with Philadelphia. I think that's about to get adapted into TV series. That honestly should be the next Walking Dead of television. The story's crafted with vampires and history and modern mythology and how dark and kind of greedy and kind of a detective feel it is too sometimes as well. So I think the Independence is where it's at for this year. I just got news that an indie company God, I forgot the name of it, Stranger Comics, I believe, they picked up a deal where they got partnered with a TV producer and they're looking at black indie talent to have some have some of their work be produced for television. So, you know what I'm saying? I think the indie scene has been growing steadily.